Welcome in everyone to Team presented by Cigna, proud partner of your Arizona Cardinals. Lisa Matthews here alongside 49ers team reporter Keiana Martin, who's made Arizona feel quite like home these past couple of weeks. First off, how are you enjoying the desert, and how is the team just transitioning to playing the rest of the season in Arizona?
Well, I'll speak for myself first. I am enjoying the desert, and this is just a big kudos to the entire Arizona Cardinals organization just for making it feel as much as home as it could, as far away as we are. Just from top to bottom, the organization has been so helpful in this transition, especially being division rivals. But let's talk about the team side of things. I think for this 49ers team, they're not really the things being thrown at them, the different hurdles that they've experienced over the last season, nothing really comes as a surprise anymore. But I think what makes this a little unique for this team, usually we have those East Coast trips. They typically stay out east. They'll spend a week wherever they might be, whether that is West Virginia, whether that's Sarasota. So they spend time out on the road. So then when they get this news about having to pack up and relocate to Arizona, it's kind of like, all right, we've done this before in the past. It's nothing too different. We might be away from our families a little longer than we prefer to be, but this comes as no surprise. We're used to this. We can get this done. So that's kind of the mentality this team has taken now. Granted, a week is much different than a month, but I feel like the team, they're embracing the change, and they're making the best of the situation as they can.
Well, that's good, but I'm sure there's no team that's faced this much adversity as the 49ers have faced in 2020. If you're talking about the relocation, injuries piled up on top of that, what's just the mentality of this team right now going forward? Obviously not in the playoff mix this year, which you go from the high of the NFC Championship title, the Super Bowl, to where they are now here in 2020.
It's super tough, and it's so strange when you look at it. You don't usually see a team that was at that point of a season drop to not even making the postseason that next year. Now, the team understands this year has been different, not just for them, but the entire league, for every single person. This has been such a unique year. They've dealt with injuries, they've dealt with relocation. It's just so many moving parts that have happened. They've even dealt with a broken down medical truck. It's been the year of just absurd happenings for the 49ers. But you know what? I think the team is knowing that this isn't an organization or a locker room that wants to give up. They're not just going to roll over and say, all right, well, let's go ahead and start looking towards 2021. This team still has that fight in them. And I know, especially with these upcoming divisional matchups, they definitely want to prove themselves that, you know what, we're not just going to lay back and roll over. We're actually here and we want to fight, even if it's not necessarily fighting for a playoff position.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Shanahan would love to play a spoiler for these teams coming up that he's facing in week 16 and 17. So let's talk about this matchup here against the Arizona Cardinals on Saturday. Always entertaining nonetheless, but there is news on the injury front. Surprise. Can you give us the lowdown on your running back and quarterback situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll start with the running back position. Raheem Mostert, who Kyle Shanahan likes the by committee approach, but everyone recognizes Raheem Mostert kind of as that lead back amongst the group. Well, Raheem Mostert will be missing the remainder of the season after re-aggravating a high ankle sprain last week. So the Cardinals won't be seeing Raheem Mostert this week. However, Kyle Shanahan said he still feels confident in the guys that he has. There's still Jeff Wilson Jr., there's Tevin Coleman, there's Jerick McKinnon, there's Austin Walter, who might not make this matchup, being that right now he is on the COVID list. But having a group of backs is why the 49ers, I believe, feel pretty secure with their run game, even with Raheem Mostert out. So now flipping the page to the quarterback situation, Nick Mullins has taken the lead for the last several weeks, but will not be under center for the final 2 games of the season after injuring his elbow in week 15. So with him out, now the 49ers are going to look to CJ Beathard getting the start in place of Nick Mullins. And it's not just that. The 49ers also opened the practice window for Jimmy Garoppolo this week. Now, will he be on the field this week in week 16? Signs are pointing to no, although the 49ers are encouraged by his rehab. But there actually news just broke that a former Cardinal will now be joining the 49ers roster, Josh Rosen, as a backup to CJ Beathard, just to kind of help add some depth to that position, because it's a very, very thin group as we enter into the final 2 games of the year.
Well, more on the injury front. Is there a chance that Kittle could be coming back this week? And how's the organization just dealing with weighing the options if he were to sit out the rest of the year? Obviously, I'm sure he wants to play.
One of my favorite things that Kyle Shanahan said, he said, George Kittle is a guy that you literally have to take his helmet to keep a guy like him off of the field. So, of course, 49ers might not be playing for much, but George Kittle, I can guarantee you, still wants to play. And because of that, he will be returning to the field this week against the Cardinals. Looking back, at that week 1 game, I'm sure he's ready to get back on the field, especially since he had to leave that game early. But not just that, Kyle Shanahan said, looking at a guy, George Kittle, if he's healthy and he's 100%, he's going to put a healthy player out there. Not just the 49ers roster, but I think you can look across all 32 teams. There's probably not many players that are at 100% right now. So Kyle Shanahan said, how can he look at his players in the eye and tell them that they have to play, but there's a guy right here who's just as healthy and just as capable sitting on the bench? He said, no, I believe in treating my players fairly. And because of that, George Kittle will be making his return to the field, his first game after missing 5 games with a foot injury.
Keiana, thank you for your time. Still lots to play for, a lot of fight left in this team. So we'll see you on our home field this Saturday.